Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tanya, for those of you that are new here, and I am a watercolor and acrylic artist. So I made a video yesterday showing how I made all these little orbs, geodes. I have a little bowl here of a whole bunch of geodes that I just love looking at. They're such inspiration for my paintings, and they have so much depth and color in them. So, and a lot of layers. So that's what I'm trying to achieve in some of my paintings. So yesterday I did a little video on how to paint little geodes, little organic shapes. It could be anything you want it to be, but they're just really simple and really fun to make. But I just wanted to take you through the process now of after I make those, and I have a little box here full of them, I start creating a little landscape. And I have a lot of little pieces of watercolor, little paintings that I've done, and I've collected into little boxes. Like, for instance, I have a whole box of little houses, a whole box of little trees and leaves, and another box of the orbs, and another one of flowers. So whenever I'm ready to create a landscape painting, I could just pull out those boxes and start piecing together a little landscape. So I'm just going to show you a little process of how I start those. All right, so that's the painting that I did yesterday. All right, so I'm going to start out by making my landscape, all my little hills. And I love all these little textures in here. Let me turn on another light. There we go. I love making all these little textures on these hills. And I'm going to show you how I do that. I do achieve that with watercolors. I have my Winsor Newton watercolors, but I also have my India ink. And I have, it's called Dr. P.H. Martin's Bombay India ink. I have a whole set of different colors. All right, so what I do first is I take a large brush. I have a Grumbacher brush here. These are my better brushes. If you have more generic brushes, I would say for the India ink, go ahead and use your more generic brushes, because the ink does start to stain all the little bristles here. So I'm going to dip my paintbrush into water, and I'm going to make another hill. And I'm not sure you're going to be able to see this on camera because this is just water. I'm going to leave a little white space right between those, between the hills, because I don't want the colors to mix. Now these I had done yesterday, so they are nice and dry, but if they were wet, you would want to leave a little white space in between, unless you really do want to merge the colors, merge the hills together, which I do that quite often as well. But right now, we're not going to do that. Let's see, what color do I want? I think, let's go ahead and pick up a purple. I've got this violet. So I'm going to actually just dip it in to my little container here, and I'm going to go around where I had put that water. And every time I lift up my brush, it creates another little bloom. See that? So you just pull and lift. Actually, well, it is bleeding there, but my water kind of dried over here already. So then what you can do is wash off your brush really well and start adding a little bit more water. And you can help that ink, you can start helping that ink go down, down your shape, whatever shape you're creating here. You can help it go down a little bit. There. And I do like to leave a little bit of white space even within my my shapes that I'm creating, the hills or mountains or whatever you're creating, because it leaves a little bit of interest, dimension, because you start creating your lights and your darks. So, and I love the way that moves across the paper. All right, now that one is nice and wet, so we're going to go ahead and put another hill. Probably coming this way. And now that purple is wet, so I am going to be careful going up against it. And I think this time I want to pull in, let's pull in I've got my red violet here. Let's go ahead and pull in red violet. Now be careful when you're opening these little tubes. You don't want to open it right over your painting, because it might spill out and then you've got a big blob right in the middle of your painting. So go ahead and open the bottle on the side and then put your ink on. Look how beautifully that just ran right down the hill. Now we're going to be putting in other layers, so it will have a little bit more dimension and depth than this. Whether I wait for this to dry and I add another layer of ink, or usually I wait for it to dry and I add another layer, a layer of watercolor right over it. There. And actually I'm going to add I want it a little bit deeper. So I'm going to just pounce my brush right on the edge here. And it's going to leave a little bit of this pattern, which I love patterns. So this is not going to bother me. And actually, the way it's drying, it's kind of merging together. So I might have to go over that later because I do love that pattern. And if the pattern doesn't stay, I might add it back in. All right. Go ahead and close up your tubes when you are done with them because it's really easy to spill over and your hand could just knock it over. They're just little plastic tubes, nothing heavy, and just the slightest little bump on the bottle could spill all your ink. All right, I think I'm going to put in one more hill. So wash off your brush really well. And I think I want this one to come in this way. And I think I'm going to take a darker blue this time. Let me see. I have a blue and I have a turquoise. You know what? Let's go ahead and do the blue. So again, open your little bottle. Not over your painting. All right, let me make sure I have enough water on there. Okay. Ooh, look at that. That's beautiful. Sometimes I just want to see how far it will go. Wash off your brush really well, and you can help it along a little bit. Oh, see, my two mountains just merged there, but you know what? I don't mind it. There, look how pretty that is. Really pretty. All right, now I'm going to do the sky. And the sky, I think I'm going to do, let's see, I think I'm going to do a teal in the sky, and then I'm going to put some India ink of my watercolor over it. Or I'm sorry, my indigo color over it. So let's go ahead and add a little water here. I did go ahead and tape off my painting here because the more water and ink you use in watercolor, your paper is going to buckle, especially the cheaper paper. It will buckle on you. All right, so make sure you get a good amount of water on there. All right, now I'm going to dip it into my teal, and I'm just going to come in with some little dots like this and just let them disperse all over the sky, because I want some cloud-like feeling in there. So I don't want to just rub it all the way across. I'm going to get down a little bit closer to my hills. Like that. And I'm going to bring a little bit more up here. And then I could just start dotting it in. If I think there's a little too much white space, I could just start dotting it in here and there. Filling it up a little bit, just a little bit more texture. And if you feel like you want to just deepen it up a little bit, just add a little bit more. That should be really pretty when it dries. All right, so we're gonna start adding, since these two hills are dry already, we're gonna start working with those first. So I wanna deepen it up by adding some watercolors. Again, you can add more inks if you want to on here, but I think I'm gonna add a little bit more watercolor. So I'm gonna go ahead and just apply some water, some clean water right on there. And I'm not sure I'm gonna go all the way up my hill. And then I'm gonna take my indigo, and this is just my watercolor, and I'm gonna start dropping in a little bit of my indigo in here. I wanna create some really nice depth. Bring it up just a little bit, but I wanted to leave my darks more towards the bottom of the page here. All right, and now let's go ahead and do our green. So I'm just putting water where I want to deepen up my green. And I might want to add a little bit of the indigo in here too, just to get a little bit more depth. I love that, the darkness of the indigo. And I'm just dotting it all around. Now I don't like this line that I created here, so I am going to bring it up and just feather it out a little bit. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and dry my sky because I could see these hills here are really, really wet. But so we'll work on the sky next, but I'm gonna go ahead and dry it a little bit more. Okay, so I went ahead and I dried my sky, and I'm gonna add a little bit of indigo to this now because I wanna kind of get the same feeling that I got down here on this hill. So I'm just gonna apply some water, clean water. And I'm only gonna go about halfway up. And I'm gonna start applying my indigo. I'm gonna try and leave that little line there. And then I'm gonna start dotting it. And I wanna leave some of that teal showing, so it's got a lot of depth in the sky. So you've got lights and darks. Add a little bit more. And I'm going to add just a little bit of water and just get some of that indigo up more towards the top. But I want it to be lighter at the top. Look how pretty that is. All right, I want to add a little bit more indigo down here. And I do love to push my darks. If this scares you, then definitely don't push your darks as much as I'm pushing them. But I love the contrast between light and dark. It just makes more of a dramatic feel in a painting, I think. But if you don't like that look, definitely don't push your darks this dark. Don't push your paints this dark. All right, my purple is nice and dry, but I can still see here there's a lot of water right here. And I don't want to play around with this too much because I have a feeling that these two colors are going to start merging. And I don't really want that at this point. So I'm going to be really careful right in here. All right, so I'm going to add some water to this one. And I still have a little bit of blue on my brush, but that's okay. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of my, which one is this? My permanent rose. Get a little pink in here. And I'm just kind of rubbing it around, dragging my paint. All right. pretty. I think I want to deepen that up even more, but not with pink. I am going to choose, let's see, maybe I'll choose a little bit of my purple, my dioxazine purple. There we go. I want to wait for that to dry and see what that looks like. And if I don't like it, I will change the color. Okay, so my painting dried really nicely. I did go in and put a little bit more indigo down here. That pink that I had added was throwing me off a little bit, and I needed it to be a little bit deeper, so I went ahead and added a little bit more of my indigo watercolor. Okay, so we've got so much texture and color in this painting already. I love this painting. I love the way it looks, but we're just going to start embellishing it. But if you wanted just a really simple abstract, this would actually be a really cool painting. But that's not me, and we're going to keep adding to this. All right, so I've got my little box of orbs here, and let's see. I'm just going to start by picking out some colors that I think would work well with this painting. This painting is a little bit more moody, a little bit more of a gem tone, so I think I'm going to stick to some of those colors. And I will pop in some of my my teals and my turquoises because I just love those. Now the pink on that hill wasn't doing it for me, but maybe if we just add a little bit of pink in one of the orbs, it should be fine. So we will play around with that and see. And we've got some green in here. I'll pull out some greens. I might even add a little bit of yellow. That one might do it. All right, so let's go ahead and just start playing around with this and see. Oh, and this one's really cute too with that. I really like the pattern on that one. Oh, and I see in my box there's this one. And ooh, that might be kind of, well, I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll leave that one out. All right, and then I'm gonna pull out my box of houses. So I've got some houses here, different sizes. We'll pull out a few of those, just see what we like. I've got really tiny ones. Maybe I'll pull out one of those just to see also in the background. All right, so let's just start playing. All right, get this out of the way. And I want to see, obviously in perspective, the bigger houses are going to go in front. So you want them to be grounded on the front hills here of your landscape. It wouldn't make sense if you had a tiny house and a big house in the far mountain. So that wouldn't make sense because anything that's closer to you is going to look bigger. So we will put this down here. Oh, and I always have a sun or a moon in my paintings. So I'm going to pull in one of those too. Now I've got this kind of like triangular shape going on here, long triangular shape with the roof. But then I'm going to pull in, I'm going to see if I pull in some of those houses if it'll make sense. But I'm not 100% sure I'm going to like that. Now this house is a little bit bigger, so we can have them maybe on this hill. Or do I want to just stick with the simple houses? They're just straightforward. I think I kind of want to. I don't know if I want that house. The red looks really nice though. I didn't think I wanted to pull in reds in this painting, but I actually think that looks really nice. And maybe we'll have, you know what, do I have a smaller house like that? Let me see. Let's see here. So you just want it to go from biggest downward towards the bottom all the way to the smallest, because obviously that house is on the hill that's way in the back of you. All right, so I've decided I don't want that shape house. So I'm going to stick with, and my hills kind of have a movement like this, so I think my houses should have that movement as well. And then let me see, let's get a moon in here since this looks like No, the yellow is just a little bit too predictable. I don't want it to be so predictable. This one's got a little bit more blue in it. Let's see. Ooh, otherwise, ooh, look at this. Just straight blue. That's pretty too. All right, let me see in my box here what I have. More for a moon. No. Well, maybe I don't know. I'm going back and forth between the yellow and the, oh, maybe this one. No. Ooh, that's got a little yellow and the blue in there. Maybe. Ooh, what about a little bit of, oh, that's pretty too. Even just a little bit of green, because then it pulls off the green. Oh, I think that's the one I want. It pulls a little bit of the green from this hill, and it still has that blue in there. Okay, so that's gonna be our moon. And then I want some of these orbs. Let me get some of this stuff out of my way here. All right, so then I think I want some of these orbs, kind of like flowers, which I could add in some flowers because I have a whole box of flowers as well. But right now I'm kind of into this orb. I don't know. Or what I did on my last painting, let me show you that again. The one that I did yesterday, I actually cut them right in half. Well, some not in half, some maybe a quarter, some in a half. And I just wanted them to fit on my, the hills. So it kind of brought another little dimension of an extra little hill onto the hill, if that makes sense. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll cut them. All right, so let's see. Ooh, I'm liking that blue. Maybe we could even bring in a little blue over here. And we can cut a few this way. And then purple, no. I do have a lot of purple in my painting already. Oh, here's another green one. That might be really pretty. Maybe a green hill over that way. I kind of like the movement, how it's just kind of zigzagging all the way around my painting. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start cutting some of these. And the way I do that is I place it on the hill that I want first. So for instance, I know I want this orb coming out of this mountain. So I'm going to kind of draw a line on there, just following along with my green hill. And then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to try and mimic that shape. Perfect. Right there. It's got a little bit of a curve to it. Now this piece I'm not going to throw away because I might want to bring it in somewhere else. So I'm going to leave all those pieces to the side. All right, I think I want this one over here. So let's follow along with the purple. Okay, so I went ahead and started cutting all my little orbs and organic shapes and started placing them where I wanted them on my painting. And I trimmed them to look like they were following along with the hill that they were placed on. And now I'm going to start gluing down. So let's see how this finishes up. Okay, so I went ahead and I glued everything down and I'm liking this painting a lot actually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be taking the blue tape off and I'm going to see what it looks like without the blue tape because that's throwing me off a little bit right now. So I'm going to carefully peel it off And when you're pulling your tape off, you want to pull it away from your painting. See how I'm pulling it to the edge? If you were to pull the tape towards your painting and God forbid it tore, it would tear right into your painting. So always pull opposite of your painting. So I just wanted to show you how I make these little whimsical landscapes with watercolor and kind of a collage technique. And yesterday I made the little orbs. So if you missed that video, go back and check out how I make all these little orbs in a different video. So I hope you liked the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, and you can make a comment in the comment section. Let me know if you want to see more of these videos, and please don't forget to subscribe. Happy painting. Bye.